There's always room for family. Salute me, family. Family. Family's family. Family.
Shut the fuck. Oh
Fast and Furious is one of my favorite franchises growing up, next to Harry Potter, Power Rangers, and Mia Khalifa's entire catalog. The last one was kind of a joke, but yeah, I remember growing up on this franchise. And now that I think about it, the first time that I've ever watched a full Fast and Furious movie was on my friend's 3DS. I know you guys remember on the 3DS you could record shit on the back of the camera. This motherfucker recorded Fast 6 in increments. And we sat there and watched that bitch together. And I was in awe. I was stunned by the pure vehicular warfare that was going on. This was a masterpiece of a film. When I saw Dom jump out the front windshield to catch Letty, I almost shed real tears. But before then, I would always see small clips of the movies on TV. And I think the first time I've ever watched it actually was in a candy store in the mall. Or wait, was that Pirates? Yeah, I think that was Pirates. Regardless, I grew up on this. It's always held a special place in my heart as a franchise. So when I tell you that Fast 9 was one of the most dumpster fire shit storms of a movie that I've ever seen, believe. This movie had no plot and no point to it. They just upped the fuckery from the last film. How didn't he die? Like, when did the director decide it was actually a smart idea to really take these to space? Then they randomly just gave this nigga a brother, which is John Cena.
And his name is John Cena.
I guess they're really trying to full send the wrestler aspect of it now. That's what they might as well call it, Fast and Furious, WWE edition. And let's talk about why the Fast saga sucks now. And the first reason is the dialogue. And it all just feels so stupid. They always have the cast-cracking jokes in a serious or benign situation. Really doesn't matter which one. They just always have corny-ass lines to say. Or they're talking about some form of technology that they've never seen before. And then Toretto talking about family. Bro, they made a whole meme of this on TikTok last year. Bro, they turned him into a tortellini. Then made him do shadow clone jutsu. Which was actually kind of funny, But still, this man would jump out a 1,000-story building with no parachute in a supercar, then merch it on his family.
Aim for the bushes.
This nigga can punch Superman square in the jaw and then say it's for his family. Bro can literally overcome death. Not passing out, not falling, not breaking a bone. Literal death. And then merch it on his family. Dom really out here living off of the power of friendship. Like, how the fuck is everything because of your girlfriend and your child? I'm starting to think family for Dom is like what spinach is for Popeye. It charges this up. Besides the dialogue sucking, there's literally no plot. Like, the only thing that carries these movies are the random action scenes that just spawn out of nowhere. Like, these niggas could be eating crumpets in Miami. Don't ask me why I chose that set. Then randomly out of Hulk's big green ass comes this giant EMP that just knocks out all the power. Now these niggas gotta fight Hercules. Wait, didn't you just say that they were trying to stop an EMP? Exactly. There ain't no goddamn plot. They always just use some random ass villain that they need for the convenience of the plot for the movie, and then just befriend them in the next one. Even though half of these niggas tried to kill you and your entire family. Like, why the fuck are y'all messing with Shaw? This man hawked each one of you guys down very efficiently, I might say, and from each country. Why are y'all playing buddy-buddy with this? And bro was efficient with it too. He found every single one of y'all and almost whacked, especially Han. But you know, I guess that isn't canon anymore because you brought this back in the movie. And you know what? Actually, that's the other problem. If someone is dead, let that stay dead. Y'all acting like you have the Dragon Balls on standby and can just wish niggas back all willy-nilly. You guys are not God. The way they brought Han back was such a cop-out. And let me just say this. Han is my favorite character. Man, I love Tokyo Drift. That is still one of my favorite Fast and Furious movies of all time. I believe that the driving scenes and the overall aesthetic of the movie took this franchise to a whole nother level. The drifting was top tier and phenomenal. I've never seen anything like that in a Fast and Furious movie. Oh, he's so cool. And the RX-7 was such a classic whip. The way that it sat on the ground, the color, the whole vibe of it was just awesome. And not to mention, Han was pulling mad shorties too. Before she died though. But what was most important to Han was he didn't need any of it. He let us know that life isn't about all the flashy stuff that he had. It was about knowing a man's true character. That's what he cherished the most. He was all about the choices that people make and how that defines their character. So when he died, we as the audience felt a sense of loss. It felt like an older brother was leaving us. It was filled with emotion. In my opinion, it was one of the most heartbreaking but also realest moments in Fast and Furious. So when they brought this nigga back, I was like, wow. Why the f y'all gotta keep resurrecting dead from the past? We got 3 bangers out of him. We didn't need this shit story. And I feel like they did this because of Paul Walker's death, to be honest. Let's get one thing clear. These movies make big bang. I'm talking billions of dollars type of thing. And when they heard that their golden boy bit the dust, well, they had to make either 2 options. Option 1, abandon ship and make one last film, wrapping up a fantastic era. Let our 2 main protagonists ride off into the sunset and live happily ever after. Or you can take the second option and milk the absolute out of the rest of the series and use his death to their advantage to make future bang. And what exactly do you think Fast and the Furious chose? Well, I don't even need to tell you. Because the thing is, big companies like this, they don't give a fuck about death. If anything, they really like that shit. It drives more attention to their product because more people get fascinated after somebody dies. We see this all the time in music. Artists go down, their streams go up. Same thing with actors, and specifically this. They make like 10,000 references to Brian like every movie. Then they brought back Mia, which literally makes no sense at all. Why the f would Mia go when they've been trying to keep her out of danger this entire time? You know why? Because there ain't no goddamn plot. They use whatever is convenient for them in that moment. I swear, Fast and Furious can literally improv every line that they have. Just make up the plot on the spot during filming and we'll get the same exact movie. Because they know that we're only coming there for the fast cars and the racing. Wait, they don't even race anymore? Well, that's not true. Look at this scene from Fast 5 when Dom was about to race this dude in the blue Porsche. And oh, wait, they didn't even have that scene. Well, I'm sure they had an excuse. We needed more scenes for Mia getting kidnapped and bad barbecue scenes. And The Rock playing in a car for 5 minutes. Oh, and let's not forget more family speeches. God knows we But we may get one race per movie, right? Nope. Negative. The last real race that we ever got was at the beginning of Furious 7. And that shit only lasted like 10 seconds. You see what I mean? This one where he was in this beat up ass rusty whip with an explosive pulley was so stupid. Like, why the f did he race this weak ass whip instead of his Impala? I know exactly what it was his ego talking.
He all like, oh, I'm Dominic Toretto. I can race anybody. It doesn't matter if I'm in a spaceship or motorcycle.
I have no clue where the British accent just came from. But yeah, he literally decided to drive an actual bomb instead of just driving his Impala because of his ego. And you know, since this is Fast and Furious and plot armor is inevitable, he had to win the race. And this didn't make any sense because his cousin owed a debt. If someone has a debt they need to pay, it's none of your business. You don't need to jump in their beef. But because he's big Dominic Toretto, he can just do whatever he wants apparently. He has to pay it back. You trying to punk this man out of your cousin's debt isn't gonna work here.
You want my car, and you earn my respect.
Oh yeah, I forgot. This is Fast and Furious, where apparently there's no right and wrong and everyone gets cucked by Dominic Toretto. But in reality, aside from all the issues that I have with this series, I still love it very much. I mean, everybody loves Fast and Furious. It's one of the most entertaining race movies we've ever seen. If people didn't love it, it wouldn't be $1 billion franchise. And I over-exaggerated just a little bit in this video because, of course, this movie's supposed to be silly. It's not supposed to be taken seriously. It's a fucking action movie. I just feel like lately they upped the bullshit factor too much, giving us human feats that don't exist in their franchise. They started focusing on trolling the audience way too much instead of trying to still make a good film. It feels like they're trying to survive off of fan service and just wreck it. They became very inconsistent with the villains too. They teased us with the return of Cypher since the last movie, but then only gave us like 10 minutes worth of her time in this.
How did he die?
Well, at least we got John Cena. Yeah, we know Fast and Furious is meant to be goofy, but at the same time, they still need to try to make a coherent story. But sadly, that might be hard for them nowadays. They're gonna have trouble keeping up with their fan service and their sheer bullshit.
How isn't she hurt?
So this is probably my last go around with the series, and if you leave too, I would understand fully. And you know why? Because there ain't no goddamn plot.